This is an RV that is finally doing something you folks have been asking for years now. Stay tuned. Hello everybody, welcome to Bish's RV. I'm here in Coldwater, Michigan today with a brand new floor plan, the 29 BHL Cougar fifth wheel. And this is something that's been missing not just in Cougar's lineup, but in like almost every lineup out there. They finally kind of bit the bullet, cracked the code on this thing. First of all, Cougar's been missing a smaller bunk model in their lineup for years, and this one just absolutely satisfies that very, very well. The other thing, though, is that the rear bunk room on this one converts into an office. It's built that way, so with zero modifications, you could actually have an office space. And if you don't care about that, you're like, I don't care about an office, I just want stuff for my family. You can also use it like a cargo bunk garage, because when the bed flips out of the way into desk mode, there's a cargo door in the back. And this is one RV you can use a number of different ways. And if you're looking at it, it is almost exactly the 24 RDS Cougar fifth wheel, but with a bunk room or office slapped on the back of this thing. And that's what's kind of cool about this one. If you like what you see here, but you're like, I don't need an office and I don't need bunks, they make one with just a giant rear U-dinette as well. So you can actually, basically have one floor plan work a number of different ways, albeit across two actual floor plans. Regardless, anyway, other quick notes here on these. These do have warranty allowances for full-time RVing. They are 0 to 110 degree rated. They have tank heaters, Goodyear tires, new tankless on-demand water heater. It is a carpetless seating slide in the living room. The upper deck is where things get a little bit squirrely, and we're going to talk about that as we go. We're going to share the good with the bad and get your feedback, and I want to hear, what do you folks think about this one? Did they nail it? Did they fail it? And what is one thing you think you'd change given the opportunity? And if you appreciate that fair information that we give you along the way, hit that subscribe button. Let's go, baby. So I wasn't really sure where to begin this one, and I kind of thought, when in doubt, sit it out. And I plopped my backside down over here at either the theater seat or the tri-fold sleeper sofa hide-a-bed. You actually have a choice here. I believe hide-a-bed is standard and theater seat is the swaptional. So we're looking at some optional stuff today. But my videos are never, necessarily representative of exactly every single one of these Cougars you might find at Bish's RV. I kind of like to just sit down here, and this is what it might look like from your point of view when you're hanging out, for the most part, during the biggest part of the day, and give you a little bit better lay of the land here. And what you see is some really cool stuff. Like, there's some awesome kitchen counter space. That's one of the things this layout does really, really well, whether it's this bunk office model or, the no bunk 24 RDS, because they make this one both ways. You get the exact same kitchen space, basically, here. Good overhead storage, awesome big 4K TV. And we'll see that thing can actually pivot around for some easy viewing from a couple different angles in a few minutes here. Also, Cougar does a good job of including those little electric space heaters wherever they can. It does mean that maybe they had to give up a little bit of drawer storage to do that. But overall, I don't think it's too bad of a give and a get. Pardon my camera work being a little bit wonky as I moonwalk backwards upstairs. I tell you, everyone wants to talk about how good of a dancer that Fred Astaire was, but the fact is, the ladies that danced with him, they did the same thing backwards, and they did it in heels. They were pretty fantastic at what they did. Now, this is where it starts to differ from its couples, camping, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, whatever you want to call it over here. From the theater seat back is where they change. They go with more of an L-shaped kind of dining lounge right here, as opposed to a full-on U-dinette, so that they actually have room to get back there into the bunk office space, which is behind it. Now, you might have noticed a little bit of a light show going on. There is motion lighting that you can turn on to activate by the door as you come in here. And basically, as you see, as soon as you open the door, that is going to kick on, and that's going to be like Jean-Luc Picard, and that's going to engage. Now, back here, I think by default, you understand that this is, a bunk model, but it's the alternative use that really has me the most excited about this. I've seen bunk models until I'm blue in the face. You know what I've not seen from a lot of manufacturers? This right here. And it kind of looks, it almost looks like a little piano and a bench to me, but I want to really take a deep dive into this. First of all, down below here, you see there's storage space. There's household and USB outlets over there. And where those are really, really handy is you might notice how there's like one of those little cord feeder slots over here where you can, run some power cords for like a laptop or tablets or phones or whatever the case may be. That is also a chalkboard backer. So this model has the capacity to be like a family model with some educational capacity. And you know what I thought about instantly on that was the men, women, and children involved with our nation's armed forces. And, they sometimes have to live a very mobile lifestyle. It gets very tricky for them. And having the ability to have flex function space like this, I immediately thought of enlisted men, women, and families here. Because the thing is, it's not just the enlisted that serve, it's their entire families. And I know I certainly appreciate it. You saw there are TV hookups up there, and they got the, nobody's going to roly-poly out of the big bed here. But also take note of this. You're going to see the bed open down below in a minute. Over here, like you could use it like a pair of normal small bunks. Or you could also use this as like an 8-foot wide adult-sized mega bed up here. It does not have to be just for kids. There's so many different ways this one can function, but I think I've talked enough. I want to start diving into some deeper details here, beginning with the fact that little piano bench we saw has a little removable cushion, and you want to get that out of the way so you can fold the dinette or the bunk desk down basically, and that folds open into a big double-sized bunk right there that will block the cargo bunk function into this RV, but we'll take a better look at that later. That is a removable telescopic collapsible ladder. You may have noticed how it wasn't touching the ground before. It's not something you have to leave hanging up there. You can get it out of the way and get to that storage. And speaking of which, above the dinette, below the dinette, you have storage before we even get to the kitchen. Now, you do have to kind of disassemble stuff to get there, so you don't want it to be everyday stuff. That table, by the way, you notice how the little L bench still folds down into an extra sleeper. That's one of the really cool things that I like about this one. You can rack pack and stack the whole Rat Pack and Rugrats and the Rugrat racks in this thing. And that was the most Dr. Seussian series of things I've ever spat out in my entire life. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty darn proud of that, and I don't think I could ever replicate it given the opportunity. Kind of like my signature. Nobody can forge my signature because I can't even replicate my own signature. It's a little bit unique every single time it comes out. Anyway, looking around here, one of the, like you saw how the TV pivots around way up high, away from the little kid fingers who are not yet responsible enough to not touch the important things. That's where all of our control stuff is, including the controller for the new tankless on-demand water heater. The space heater down here, by the way, the fireplace, as it were, those things pump out a bunch of heat. If you're just trying to take the nip out of the air on like a fall day, like it is at the time that I'm recording this, they're going to work fantastically. Now, the sidewall of this is laminated, so putting outlets in the sidewalls is hard. However, this forward wall is not laminated, so putting outlets down where you can actually use them in the kitchen, that is not too difficult. Also, those are inverter prepped outlets, and I want to get you down low here, and we're actually going to look up under the TV, where you'll see another set of outlets over there. Remember, the right-hand wall on the screen right now is laminated, so they can't really easily run outlets through it. The forward wall is not. So that is not a difficult prospect. Now, we're looking at the 12-volt compressor fridge today. As a park camping Midwestern boy, that would be my personal preference. They are still optioning a gas-electric two-way refrigerator. There we go, a swaptional fridge. This one, though, is larger. It is faster cooling. It's unquestionably travel safe. There is some debate on using two-way fridges on propane mode in transit. It does, without question, though, use more power if you're untethered and boondocking. Now, I think we've pretty much covered the lower deck right there. Let's move our way upstairs. I do want to make a quick mention. That is not carpet that you saw in the slide out. That is actually that marine woven kind of carpetless stuff. Someone was actually asking the other day saying, the definition of carpet, that stuff might still apply for it. I think what people are wanting to know is it like, traditional carpet? And no, it's not. Nice tall shower in this, as you see right here, and a big shower at that. However, we're going to have some problems with this area when it comes to road mode, and if you hang with me, I will get the slide out closed and showcase all that for you. We, of course, have the nice little corner space there where Uncle Gary can shave his shins, but only his shins. The good news, you've got all kinds of room to stretch out and do your business. There's no twist-em-up bathroom yoga required around this toilet. Now, above that, You've got an emergency Taco Tuesday grab handle. You also have some nice additional linen storage, as you might see. And I just realized I actually passed by the storage below the sink. There is a full medicine cabinet behind the mirror, by the way. But getting us down here a little bit, let's start taking a look at the drawer storage there. Also, nice little wastebasket space next to it is something I always like to try to find in RVs whenever possible. Now, moving up front into our very private front bedroom here, I want to get a major thing out of the way right away. Let's talk about the scary stuff right away. It's a Camp Queen. They're one of the only major fifth wheel manufacturers in a more premium class that I've seen still doing a Camp Queen. They used to do a True Queen, and they said it was a little bit tight at the foot of the bed, and they shifted down to a Camp Queen. I personally feel like there's room there for a True Queen, and yeah, you might do a sideways two-step to get around it, but that's my 2 cents. You're the people potentially buying this RV. What is more important to you? Would you like them to leave the short queen in and give you the choice? Would you like them to put in a True Queen bed and have it be a little tighter at the foot of the bed? Do you find that acceptable? Or, and this would take more time, and it will probably end up causing the RV to get a little bit longer, a little bit heavier, and a little bit more expensive. Would you like them to redesign their bedrooms around the idea of a True Queen? It's not impossible. That's just far, far more involved. Now, here's another thing. These are always 50 amp. You always have a 15,000 BTU air conditioner downstairs. You always have the ability to put a second air in up here. And remember those inverter prepped outlets I was telling you about? You might notice how both sides of the headboard very easily, like very phone charger friendly, and those are prepped and run to the inverter loop system. And today we're looking at an RV that does have the SolarFlex 400 package, which means that this thing actually does have a 2,000 watt inverter installed in it. So, you know, your outlets, all those yellow outlets, you could flick the switch and you could make those things live, like in the Cracker Barrel parking lot or something like that, or in a rest area parking lot if you have to make a longer trip stay over. They've also redesigned their closet slides in any of their models that are not a full bed slide out when it's still a north-south bed and has the closet side like this. Last year, they still had triple drawer storage, but they were down under all of your hanging storage, and as a result, you had to open the doors to get to the drawers if you wanted to get to your drawers through the doors. Yeah, more Dr. Seussian kind of stuff. So they have technically reduced a little bit of hanging storage, but now it's actually tall enough that you don't got to worry about Uncle Gary's sundresses getting wrinkly because they're, you know, the space wasn't tall enough. Now you got plenty of room and bigger drawer storage. Because you can keep scores of drawers in your drawers. Sam, I am. And if you dissect that sentence, it is actually, the syntax is correct. And, ooh, that is not the angle I wanted to provide off of that mirror. Whew. Now, the road mode function on this one is not perfect, but it's also not nothing. So, you know, the door is over there on the right. You see that there's plenty of room to be able to get through here. You can get up to the, you know, all your kitchen storage, the sink. You can get to that stuff to make a sandwich. You flat lose the upper deck. The bedroom and the bathroom are lost without opening the slide. I know that's a major break point for a lot of people, but I don't mind showing it off, even if it's not positive. I try to provide fair information in these videos. Now, you're going to look at this and say, yeah, but I lost the refrigerator too because of the way the door opens. The thing is, I'm not really going to ding them for that, and here's why. Basically, because those refrigerator doors can be flipped to open the other direction. So as it stands right now, yeah, it opens in a way that it would require the fridge door to be flipped, but that's something that we could do for you probably at about a whole cost of nearly $0 if need be. That is not a hard thing to really do yourself at home, by the way. I've also already sent a message out to the factory folks that said, you know, the way this one's positioned, I really think you should flip the door the other way from the factory level. I don't have confirmation of that at the time that I'm recording this. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing it. Because, I don't know, my 2 cents, if the fridge opened the other way during the daytime, do you think it would provide any, like, I don't see how it would interfere with the use of the RV. I think it would just benefit the road mode function a little bit more. But what's your 2 cents on that? Maybe if we both agree the factory's going to be a little more inclined to make it happen. But also for road mode, remember that we have this extra room back here. And if you flip it into desk mode, it really enhances the traveling function. Not that a desk makes traveling better. It's the fact that in desk mode, the bed gets out the way so that you can fully utilize this cargo pass-through door here like unobstructed. So, you know, whether it's big totes or if it's e-bikes or just general bikes or something like that, depending on, like, you might have to take the front tire off so you can turn the handlebars to get them in, but the fact is you could do a lot with that space, whether you're using this as an office or as a bunk room, or a little bit of both depending on your trip. Now, I get on my soapbox about this quite often, but it's because it's something that I feel very, very strongly about. This RV's name is the Cougar Half-Ton Series. Does that mean that it's half-ton towable? Everyone wants to know, and I don't necessarily feel it is. And the reason I say that is not because of the empty dry weight of this one. You know, you saw the features and specs and measures and everything there. It's the hitch weight. Even smaller fifth wheels usually have more hitch weight than most half-ton vehicles should rightly be handling. And understand what that means. I'm basically being the bearer of bad news here, and considering the fact that half-ton pickups are the single best-selling vehicle for a number of years in a row, at least during normal supply chains. I don't know the current status of that. What I just said is the largest number of people who have the most popular vehicle out there. I don't think this is safe and appropriate for you to tow. I am trying to put your safety before the sale with information like this. Sometimes people borderline want to argue with me. You know, you are free to make the choices and do whatever you want. I'm doing the best I can to try to keep you as safe as possible. Now, this does have a single sewer outlet, which is nice. Heated belly, holding tank heaters, radiant barrier. They also direct dump forced air heat vents, not just into the belly, but directly onto each individual holding tank. And they also run their water lines directly next to their heat lines, so that basically the water lines are, I'm not going to say directly heated, but there's a lot going on, basically. Cougars have an awesome, awesome weather package. And we talk a lot about cold weather camping, but the fact is they're also one of the best hot climate campers out there, actually pushing themselves to 110 degree tested rating. So they're 0 to 110. A lot of brands are 0 to 100. Cougar goes a little bit further. You may have noticed the double solar panels up top. We're looking at the 400i SolarFlex package. Actually, let me just give you another quick peek at those up there. The standard on this is a single 200-watt solar panel. The one that we're looking at today is dual 200-watt panels, as well as a 2,000-watt inverter running to a bunch of outlets and a bunch of other things involved in that upgraded SolarFlex package. And yet, you can actually go one step further and beyond with Cougar Solar. And you can even upfit this one to the point it could be $800 to potentially $1,200, depending on how much money and how invested you wanted to get off of this 400 package. So it's extremely expandable, very robust from the the factory level right here. Automatic leveling, standard on these, that's been a Cougar thing for a long time. They're really one of the brands that pushed that into being standard in the fifth wheel market. You also saw how that does have a big front pass-through baggage storage compartment there. And they put a pretty decent sized awning on this. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it at all. Like, you might look at it and say, well, the awning doesn't go all the way to the rear wall. No, but it is a pretty big awning, and the rear wall does taper down enough, it might start to get a little bit tricky. Like a lot of brands, like I see Wildwood do this a lot, Cherokee do this a lot, where you have these little mini kind of vertical camp kitchens. Cougar was really smart about this in a couple ways. First of all, that door is on a magnet holdback. So while you're cooking, you don't got to worry about the door flinging and smacking you or whatever, knocking hot stuff onto the kids who, maybe they're sitting over here next to those Goodyear tires that are now standard. It's just smarter execution. And, when the fridge is right behind the griddle, yeah, it could be a little bit tricky to reach to. And if it's a little kid, you don't want them reaching past it. Just being real about that. Little kids, I don't think, should try to reach up there and get the Hug Juice barrels. I think maybe we should keep the bottled water and the barley pop in there, because adults can reach up over that griddle and still access that door, which is awful nice. This is prepped and ready for TPMS, by the way, and I can't even spell TPMS, but the fact is that means tire pressure monitoring system for those who are not aware. So going down the road, if you choose to, you can add a little tire pressure monitor module onto this thing, and right from your vehicle, your phone can tell you if your tires get too hot, too cold, not enough air, too much air, you can program it to do a number of different things. On the back of this one, it does have a 3,000-pound towing hitch with 300-pound vertical accessory limit. So if you want to add a small little generator tray, you know, you can probably keep bike stuff inside, but bike racks, honey wagon, tote holder things, whatever you want to do with it. It also has the 4-way wiring for a little trailer behind it. And just in front of that hitch is actually where it does have one of those tubes to keep your stinky slinky away from all your other fun camping stuff. And of course, wrapping our way around the backside here, we once again greet ourselves with that multi-function kind of cargo door on the back, which does have deadbolt for security, by the way, so you don't got to be spooked about somebody snagging your kids. That's just a miniature version of the main entry door. And for 23, they've also updated this to a tankless on-demand water heater. So if you need to take a bunch of back-to-back showers to get everybody ready for the ride home so we're not stinking up the truck tomorrow, you can do that without anyone having to take a cold one. So thank you once again for hanging out with your Uncle Josh here in dreary, misty, chilly southern Michigan today. The weather here isn't fun, but I don't let that stop me. You know, hopefully where you're at the weather's a little bit nicer. Like for instance, let's just say you're emptying your black tank while getting paid to poop at work. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. Hopefully the weather's a little bit nicer where you're at. Let me know what you think about this thing. I've seen floor plans like this in travel trailers, certainly. I've never seen one like this in a fifth wheel, and I'd really be curious to know, what do you think of their application of this? That bunk, desk, office, cargo combination? I think they're onto something here. I really, really do. But that's my 2 cents. And you could very easily, potentially rightfully say I'm a biased source. So that's why I like to ask you, what do you think? I'll leave you links in the video description. If we have one in stock, you'll actually see where we have it and what we're asking on a given day. If we don't have one in stock, I do apologize. I don't have anything I could reference. I do need you to ask our team what they might be running if we happen to be sold out. I do suspect this will be a popular one, though. So when you're ready, we're ready. But until then, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.